Ravens flock, the flock rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. So I'm telling you now, it's about to go down. The podcast, the flock rundown. Ravens, baby. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
Appreciate you, Ray. What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. So the Ravens are getting a lot of national media love right now. A lot of people are hyping them up, as they should. They're 7-2, been blowing teams out. We look really good right now. But there's also a narrative and a constant thing that I keep hearing people say, and that's the Ravens' lack of postseason success doesn't validate them now. And let's roll some clips just to kind of show you what I'm talking about, and then we'll dive into it.
Defense is better, Baltimore or Kansas City, because
Baltimore.
I'm not ready to say that. I'm sure they're better statistically and all that stuff, but I've seen this defense prove it in the postseason. So part of it, for me, with Spags and Kansas City, like McDonald's doing a great job. They're talking about him as a head coach maybe at some point. They are doing a terrific job. But I would give the nod to Kansas City until I see them not perform in big spots. And I got to see Baltimore do it down the stretch.
If we need a drive, what offense out the AFC North are we going to take? We all going to take Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow to win that game. And so when we need that drive to get it done, we all going to take the Bengals offense. And that's what's going to happen in the playoffs. We're going to need a drive. Your team's going to need a drive. All I know is
can't go off of that, though.
Playoff time or when the game matters starting in November, Joe Burrow's 15-5.
No.
November, December, January, he's 15-5.
I've seen this movie with Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens running up and down the field, Lamar doing his thing. They didn't get to the big dance. When Joe Burrow shows up, all they do is they believe. He's like the Cincinnati Bengals genie, and they can rub him, and they feel like they can go anywhere they want because they have him. He's dispatched of Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. He has been to Kansas City, and he has seen that monster. He is dispatched of them. When you look at these football teams, everyone in the AFC scared to death of the Cincinnati Bengals.
There's a lot more people saying this too, but I just put a few clips together just to kind of show you what I mean about this narrative of the Ravens not able to do it down the stretch or when it matters most. In the last two seasons, Lamar Jackson hasn't finished the season. So if you want to make the conversation just about injury concerns and keeping the entire team healthy for a duration of a season, I can hear that out. That's a different conversation. The Ravens have obviously struggled with that the last few seasons. But the lack of postseason success or not able to do it in the playoffs, it's been 3 years. And we were in the divisional round. We lost against Buffalo. We only scored 3 points. It was a terrible outing, terrible game. But my point is, that was 3 years ago. We are heading into the playoffs of 2024 here when the playoffs come around. And Lamar hasn't played in the playoffs the last 2 seasons. Neither has this defense. 13 points per game they're allowing right now. They lead the NFL in sacks. As much as we were concerned about the pass rushers and the individual pass rushers that we have the best pass rush in all of football. We're getting the most sacks of any team and allowing the lowest amount of points. So we have not brought this caliber of a defense. Our defense is always pretty solid, but we have not had this caliber of a defense. We have not had these coordinators, Mike McDonald, Todd Monken. Flip back to the offensive side of the ball. Lamar's in a new scheme that he's obviously flourishing in. Lamar has never been this accurate. He leads the NFL in completion percentage. When has that happened? So I'm saying there's a lot of different stuff going on this year. And the only reason that we haven't had a chance to see Lamar's postseason success the last few seasons is because he's got hurt. And that can happen to anybody. Joe Burrow could go down tomorrow. I wish every team could stay as healthy as possible and we could get, best versus best. That's ideal situation. But my point is, why are people hanging on this playoff narrative that we haven't really even been able to test? If you're really talking about something 3 years ago, if you put the injuries aside, you just haven't been able to see it. Lamar's rookie season went 6-1, went to the playoffs, terrible outing against the Chargers. It's his rookie year. Next year after that, he wins MVP. We go 14-2. We get a bye. Terrible outing again. I don't think that was like mainly on Lamar, but a terrible outing versus the Titans. We get bounced in our first round, but it was the divisional round. Year after that, we win a playoff game, beat the Titans in the wild card, lose to the Bills in the divisional round. 2 more seasons go by. We haven't seen the Ravens with Lamar, with these weapons at all, go into the postseason. So I don't even know how that narrative makes sense right now. You're clinging on to things that don't exist anymore. It's a weak argument because everything's completely different when Lamar Jackson's there. So if you just want to have an injury argument, let's talk about that. You know, the Ravens haven't been able to stay healthy down the stretch. Okay, fair. That's a fair argument. But to say the Ravens haven't been able to do it in the postseason, we almost beat the Bengals in Cincinnati last year in the wild card game without Lamar, with Tyler Huntley, and with no receivers. Now Lamar has weapons, Odell, Bateman, Zay, Mark. The run game's going right now, clicking on all cylinders. The line's starting to play a lot better. Most of this defense wasn't even playing on that roster 3 years ago that lost to the Bills in the divisional round. We had no Roquan or Kyle Hamilton or Marcus Williams or Jadeveon Clowney or Van Noy. Matabike wasn't really playing. Travis Jones wasn't on the team. I mean, the list goes on. Like, we didn't have any of those guys. And Lamar had none of these weapons. So let's dead the narrative that the Ravens can't perform in the postseason. Oh, we got to see it before we believe it. Okay, whatever. If you stand on that hill, like, you got to see it. They don't have a chance until they actually do it. Whatever. But to say that this team has anything to do with what happened in the past is nonsense. It's crazy. I promise there's a different result than 3 years ago that people want to keep bringing up, that the Ravens can't perform in the postseason. That is such a old take. You know, that was a take right after the Ravens lost to the Bills in the divisional round with Lamar. That was a take that was relevant then. But 2 years have passed. Lamar didn't even play in the playoffs. And we didn't have half of this team that we have right now, or the coaching staff. Things are completely different. It's a completely different team. Lamar's playing differently. Everything's different. So the Ravens' lack of postseason success years and years ago, irrelevant. Now, if you want to be more high on the Bengals because they were just in the AFC Championship, they were just in the Super Bowl, fair. I don't care if you pick another team to go to the Super Bowl. I don't think that, you know, that's obviously up for debate. The Bengals could go to the Super Bowl, but so could the Ravens. And the Ravens, in my opinion, probably right now have a better chance, regardless of what happened 3 years ago. So I just wanted to point that out because I was watching a lot of national media takes, and I usually don't watch a lot of that, but the Ravens have been performing so well, I just kind of wanted to get some positive entertainment and just hear everyone talk good about them. You know, it always feels good. If we lose a game or don't play well, I don't watch anything, but if we do play well, I like seeing what people are saying. You know, finally people start to come around. Stephen A is coming around, all these guys, and then I hear all these takes in the midst of it, and I'm like, what do you mean we haven't performed in the playoffs? This team here can't be judged that long ago on a past Ravens roster that doesn't exist. But whatever, people are going to talk. We got a game coming up Sunday, huge division game. Browns are coming into the bank, and it's a big one. It's a big one. And then the Bengals next Thursday. So these next 2 games against the Browns and Bengals are huge. I mean, if we can win both of those, we really separate ourselves in the North. We'll be 9-2 and have the tiebreaker over both of those teams. So these games are huge. Obviously not easy games. Last time we played the Browns, Deshaun Watson wasn't playing. And then last time we played the Bengals, they weren't clicking like this. We got some real meaningful football coming up here, and I think the Ravens are built for it. I think we're built to get the job done, but time will tell. I just want to come on and blast that narrative that I keep hearing. But I appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you guys next time.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame